Okay, in this video, I'm just going to talk about defending on Golden Drought 5 and things I see that people make mistakes on. And I'm just going to show you what kind of defense I would make on Golden Drought 5. Yeah, uh, I play this map a lot, played in multiple tournaments, especially on Badline, won a bunch of money doing well in those tournaments. So yeah, I know what I'm talking about on this map, at least this map. I don't know about the other maps. Okay, so let's start with mistakes first. This is sort of going to go into general how to play the map, I guess, because of the nature of the map, it's small, it's 5v5, whatever. Teams like to rush the sides, obviously, and then they get the ice. A big thing that I see teams may do is, or like pug teams even, is like they send one guy back to give the ice to people. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You have an even fight on both sides, where or on one side you're gonna have an even fight, on one side you're gonna have the advantage, on the other side you're not gonna have the advantage, and you're deciding to rotate one person off and bring them back when you know that most likely means you're going to lose control of that side. It doesn't matter how fast you do it. A 2v, like, you're never gonna win a 1v2, especially when you're both armorless and like arrows do 3 hearts each. So first thing is, don't run back with the ice when you're on front lines and helping your defender. That's just stupid. Like, win the fight first and then go help your defender. I think the players who, like, this is a call out. Some of the players, I'm assuming you know who you are. You do this a lot in pugs. Just stop doing it. It's stupid. As a defender, I see a lot of people, they decide to place the water here, and they do this, and then they spread it out like this, and they think they're really cool because now people can't push their wool room from the bottom lane. So I have a bunch of problems with this. One, it's in your way. You can't fucking shoot through this easily. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is, it's not even very effective. Okay, think about it this way. If people are pushing from the right side, they're pushing through one of two ways. They're skybridging, or they are pushing from the ground. If they're skybridging, we've talked about this in like the first or second video of the defending series. By placing water, you're giving them something to land on that means they're not going to take any fall damage. So it's just bad if people are skybridging. But then, obvious argument is, it's good against people who are pushing from the ground. So if people are pushing from the ground, like, here's the thing. You have a huge height advantage here over the people pushing the ground, and if there's a team push, if there's two people here and one of them's like, oh, I'm gonna tunnel, the other person shoot, like, you can just focus the guy that's shooting at you down, or send a teammate to kill him, and then let the other guy waste his time tunneling. This is a very thin lane. If you dig down to here, you'll be able to deal with any tunneler that comes through, because the bedrock is only, the lane is only 3 wide. So if you tunnel to this, the offenders will have to break through this and you'll be able to see them. So it's not even a big deal if they tunnel. The only thing tunneling does from an offender's perspective is, one, slow them down so a teammate can rotate back and help you, and two, let the defender know that you aren't pushing their wool immediately. Give them time to be prepared to place blocks, to place whatever they need, and then get their team to help. So in general, all water does is like fucking nothing. Like, you'd rather water, yes, it makes it hard for people to pillar up when they start bridging and they fall down. It's very hard for them to jump up. The thing is, like, that's not that big of a deal because it's already really hard for them to get up because of this intense incline. It's already stupid for them to try to tunnel past it. I guess there's an argument for baiting people by placing the water to tunnel, but that's a stupid argument. And if they were going to tunnel in a scenario, they're probably going to tunnel regardless of if there's water or not. And if anything, it helps them when they're skybridging. So yeah, it's not good. One argument that I do have for doing this, because I did this in a tournament match once, and then afterward in the Badline series final, I decided not to use the water like this because I thought about it a little bit more. I decided it was bad. The reason I thought it was good in the first place is because if my team loses right side, and the respawn to get to right side is a very long respawn, so I was like, okay, my team can just rotate the water will stall people for a little bit longer than if there was no water, so my teammates can come back and help me out, or help me out if on right side, and then they can get the right island. That was a terrible argument because what I realized was the respawns can just come around left much faster. The people, if you lose a fight on right side, you're not going to be able to get up here, whether there's water or not, before the people on left side, especially in the mid and early game, before the people respawning come up and stop you. Yes, they'll be armless and you won't, but most likely you'll also be low because you've just taken that fight and the defender is shooting at you. And to get up here, you're going to take a lot of shots from the defender as well because it's really hard to get up here otherwise. So after I realized my team could just respawn back here and help me, I decided this was stupid and it was unnecessary. Water on this lane is bad, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of resources. If you have only, on bad line, we only had 2 ice blocks or 3 ice blocks I believe, 4 maybe? So it was, ice was a much greater resource and we had to use it a little bit more sparingly. We couldn't just spam ice everywhere. Another thing I see people do that I don't think is very good is they put ice here. They place ice like this, and then they bridge it down like this, and they're like, whoa, if the offenders that are pushing will get pushed out of the world, oh, they'll get, like, you can't do anything when they're, like, if I'm standing here and they're there, it's gonna slow them down long enough for me to shoot them, okay? This is also fucking stupid. Also, sometimes people even put it here. Okay, I'll talk about that later. Over here, it's bad because your respawns can't help you, okay? If, like, what I'm doing is, yes, I'm splitting them up. I'm forcing, this is much harder to get across if there was no water here. But something that you can just do is break this bridge to have a very similar effect without using water and also without making it harder for your respawns to come. So if my team dies on left, or if they die on right and they're rotating over and they're pushing the left side, this water, all it's going to do is prevent me from being able to shoot at them. Okay, and the trade-off is if you want the water to be lower to the ground, it'll be easier to dewater, and if it's higher, then you won't be able to shoot through it as easily. If I can't shoot through it, I can't prevent people from doing anything once they're here. Yeah, like, okay, it'll slow them down because they have to block spam over it, and that means respawns can come. But a smart team, what they'll do is they'll just ignore you because as a defender, you can't shoot them when they're here very easily. They'll just go for the kills on the respawn, assuming your team respawns armorless because they have to respawn armorless because they just lost the fight and they need to help you. If they don't respawn armorless and they decide to make armor to take the even fight again, then these 2 people will just push you. If they respawn armorless, then these 2 people will probably kill them first and then push you, and you won't be able to do anything. With no water here, you're able to shoot them easier, you're able to hit them off easier, and just in general, the stalling tactic of placing water there can be almost as effectively done as just breaking this bridge and placing pressure plates on here without doing all the stupid shit like without doing all the dumb shit like breaking your line of sight and making it really hard for your team to get over it. So also another thing that I forgot to mention now that I think of it is if you place water here and the team does push over here and gets over here, your team now is split. Because of the water, your team is now split, and it's really hard for them to reach you to help you. What that means is, if they do push and the respawns don't come in fast enough, you're stuck taking a 2v1, and that one person can 1v1 you, or they can 2v1 you, while a third person or the second person just bows and holds these people off. If there's no water here, it's much easier for your team once the enemy's broken through your defense, like let's say you have a wall here, let's say you have pressure plates. Most likely the enemy team will break that or get over it in a much easier way than if there was water, because water is a lot more cancer. Which means your respawns can come in and kill people. It's the thing, like, you have to think, in 5v5 especially, you have to think about respawns and time and stalling, because you will always win when your respawns come in my experience, as long as your team is good. Like, I mean, I'm biased because, like, I got to play with really good players, but playing for respawns is usually the right way to play in 5v5, and especially on Golden Drought 5. You just try to stall and make sure your respawns come in, but like the best way to commit people, the best way to what am I saying? The best way to win a fight on defense when two people are pushing you and you've been swept on left side is to force one person to stay back far away and then take the other 1v1. So you kill the one person here and then you keep both spamming the second person and stalling them off until your respawns come in. Or you stall long enough for people to make gold armor while they're pushing, and then now you have 3 people, including yourself, to push them back. That's the kind of play that Respawn's do. The water here just splits people off. The water here just gives you less of a platform to fight on. It gives the people up here an easy thing to jump on if it goes over here. The water here is just really fucking awful. It hurts your positioning. You can't position yourself as effectively, and when people are pushing out, like there's no way you can there's no way you can help your team, or you can stop them from pushing out because this water is preventing you. So like if respawns come left, they're just gonna be stuck here being bow spammed by the people in here, and then they can just run out here really easily because you're being stalled by your own defense. So don't let that happen. Water on this lane is bad. Okay. This is why in pugs I tend to tell whoever's playing front lines when I'm defending that I don't need water. But there is one good place to place water, and I've done this in tournament matches, and I think I was like, I'm quite certain I was the one to invent this, or not invent this, but like be the first one to do it. I guess that is inventing, whatever. It's to place it here. So what we've learned about water so far is that it isn't effective in places where you already have a huge positional advantage, and it isn't effective in places where it hurts your team on respawns and it hurts your positioning. So then the question is, when is water useful? And water is useful specifically in scenarios where it only stops and stalls the enemy team, not your own team. And placing water here is that position. So why is that? Pretty simply, you would do this further, but this is fine. The way I played this in Pure Blocks versus Aura and Pure Blocks versus whatever other team that was playing is I placed the water here. The reason I placed the water here is because it doesn't actually harm my team, but it really, really harms the enemy team. And the way it harms the enemy team is that when they push off of the right lane, so this is just a general map strategy. It's much easier to push off your own left side than it is for the enemy team to push off your left side than it is your right side. On your right side, they have to skybridge, they have to push from the ground. As we've already talked about, it's really hard to do anything when you're at a positional disadvantage right here. Over here, however, is like the way that 99% of players get into the water. When they push to here and the defender can't do anything and the respawns can't help. So then the solution is, or the theory is, you have to stall the people pushing on left. The best way to stall the people pushing on left is to do this. And okay, now let's explain, now that I've set it up. So when people are pushing left, they're going here, they can't just push off the lane. I've denied all of the space from them. They can't really block spam over it because they're gonna get pushed out. And if I shoot them when they're on this side of the water, they'll fall out of the world. If I shoot them when on this side of the water, they'll fall in here. And I'll break this, by the way. I would break this. They'll get pushed up against the wall. They won't be able to place blocks very easily. They'll have to like tunnel in, which will waste time, allow my team to get respawned. If they don't tunnel in, which is stupid, by the way, don't tunnel in. Unless you're confident the enemy team has no brain cells and like won't follow you around. What they do is they block spam along this one by one bridge, or right here. And if they do that, then I just shoot them into the water and they're sad boys again because now they've slowed down. No matter what happens here, unless they break the water itself, they've slowed down. And if they do break the water itself, I actually think that's still a win for me anyways, because they've wasted time getting up here, block spamming up here to break the water. My team has definitely come back and respawn anytime. So they're fucked. They're gonna lose this. They're gonna lose at least this push, and hopefully my team will be able to rebound off that and get left and then win the game. And they won't be able to do it again. Another big thing is that it doesn't actually harm my team because it denies all of the space. So if my team is respawning and they're like, oh, we need to take a fight on left, it's not really hard for them to take the fight. They can just wait here for the enemy team to push in. If they don't push in, then they can just run up here without being shot, and they can wall up like this, and they have enough space here to fight, right? If they are being pushed and they're standing here, they can just run back without me shooting them. They'll have no problem, and then they'll stand here and shoot them. And the water really fucks the enemy team over because they're slowed down, they're being shot at, I'm shooting them from the left, so they might get shot out of the world. The water is very effective only in keeping them back, but does not keep my teammates back like it keeps my teammates back here. It does not hurt my sight lines like it does when I place it here or here, and it doesn't give them anything to jump on to lower fall damage like it does over here. If you have two water sources, feel free to place one here. I think this is fine, but I think what I would prefer is if people placed it like this, because then the water doesn't get in your way when you're shooting people. Yes, it does still here, and I don't like this. This is the reason I will never put water here. Fuck water. But I will place it. But if you like desperately wish to look cool with your water defense, place it here so it's not in your way. Just move here if you want to cross shoot. You won't have to worry about there. You'll be able to jump here to be able to shoot at the people in front of you, and you're fine. Yeah, okay. Quick review. Water is bad anywhere out here. Water is good here. I hope you understood my explanation of playing for respawns, making a defense so it doesn't get in your way, it doesn't get in your teammates' way, and it only gets in the way of your enemies. And yeah, if you want to see videos where I actually analyze maps as a whole, not just from defensive perspective, but from like the perspective of how you should play it, I can definitely do that, especially with 5v5 maps, because I have a bunch of experience playing those, and I'm happy to share that knowledge. Okay, have a great day. Goodbye.